The sky of planet Cryon burned red. The air was thick with smoke, dust, and the smell of metal. Giant war machines lay broken across the ground, their black metal frames still glowing from recent explosions. What was once a proud battlefield was now a graveyard of machines and soldiers. General Vark stood in silence. His armor was cracked, his helmet broken. Around him, the ground trembled from distant thunder, not from weather, but from falling ships. The invasion had failed. His army, the pride of the Zirith Empire, had been destroyed in only 3 days. He could not understand how humans simple, small creatures from a blue planet were not supposed to be this powerful. The Council had said they were weak. The Council had promised victory, but victory never came. Vark walked across the battlefield, his heavy boots crushing the ashes of his fallen soldiers. Broken helmets stared back at him. Every few steps, a strange silence echoed. No birds, no wind, no life. Only death. Near a pile of twisted metal, he saw something blinking. A small light. A message beacon. He knelt down, brushing off the dust and blood from its surface. The machine hummed weakly, struggling to play its final message. The hologram flickered to life. A soldier appeared, his armor shattered, his face burned. His voice shook as he spoke. "This is Sergeant Lero. We tried. We really tried, General. They don't fight like us. They think different. They learn," he coughed, choking on his last breath. His eyes were full of fear. "Do not attack the humans. They will hunt you. Forever." The beacon went silent. The red light faded out. General Vark froze. Those words echoed in his mind again and again. "Do not attack the humans." He looked at the horizon. The sun of Cryon was setting behind thick clouds of smoke. Strange shadows moved above metal birds, small and fast, crossing the red sky. They were not alien ships. They were human drones. Silent, precise, and deadly, Vark realized something terrible. The humans were not just defending Earth anymore. They were already here on Cryon. He touched the side of his helmet, activating his communicator. The signal cracked. "This is General Vark to the High Council. Cryon has fallen. The humans. They're coming." Static answered him. Then a cold voice spoke back. "General, your report is exaggerated. The Council refuses to believe these primitives could defeat our forces. Return to base immediately." Vark's eyes darkened. The Council refused to believe? Even after seeing the dead? Even after losing 10 fleets? He clenched his fists. "They don't believe," he whispered, "because they are afraid to see the truth." The ground shook again. In the distance, fire rose high into the sky. Human ships were bombing the last remaining energy towers. The air filled with a deep humming sound, growing louder every second. Then, silence. A beam of blue light split the clouds and struck the ground miles away. The explosion followed after 3 seconds, loud enough to shake the bones in Vark's body. He fell to his knees, his armor scorched by the heat wave. The humans were using weapons the Council said they didn't have. Everything the Council sighed was wrong. Vark's second-in-command, Captain Sareth, crawled out from behind a broken tank. His right arm was gone, his face covered in soot. "General, we need to retreat. There's nothing left." Vark looked at him with empty eyes. "There is nowhere to go." Above them, the sky tore open, human warships entering Cryon's orbit. Their formation was perfect, silent, beautiful, and terrifying. It wasn't just power, it was precision. "They are hunting us," Vark whispered. Just like the message said. The captain looked at him, confused. "Who?" "The humans." The captain's face turned pale. They both stared at the sky as dozens of bright lines descended. Each line was a drop pod, carrying soldiers. No noise, no warning, no mistakes. Vark could feel their presence. They were not invaders, they were hunters. He reached for the beacon again and replayed the dying soldier's message. Each word cut deeper. "Do not attack the humans. They will hunt you forever." Vark turned his eyes toward the heavens, his voice shaking. "I tried to warn them. I told the Council this would happen. But they refused to believe." The wind picked up. Dust swirled around him. In the red twilight, his reflection shone in the metal of a fallen ship, his own face. Broken and tired, he realized then that this was not just a defeat. It was a message. Humans had warned them once. The Zereth Empire didn't listen. Now they would pay. The communicator crackled again, one last time. General Vark? This is the Council. Return home. Your failure will be judged. He looked at the sky again, watching human ships move like shadows. No, he said quietly. It is not my failure you should fear. A sharp whistle echoed. A beam of light cut through the clouds, heading straight toward the capital city. Then, darkness. The screen fades to black. Only the soldier's voice echoes one last time. Do not attack the humans. They will hunt you forever. The city of Zereth Prime floated high above the clouds, a shining capital of power and pride. Golden towers touched the sky, and silver ships glided between them like quiet birds. To most of the galaxy, this was the heart of strength and control. But today, it felt cold. Deep inside the central tower, the Great Council gathered. 12 alien leaders sat around a circle of blue fire. Their faces were calm, their eyes sharp, but their voices were full of denial. General Vark stood in the middle, armor cracked, body covered with scars from the last battle. His voice was low, controlled, but filled with warning. They destroyed our fleets in 3 days. The humans learn faster than any species we have met. They copy our weapons. They use our own tactics against us. The council members looked at each other. Some laughed quietly. Others whispered. Finally, the oldest among them, High Counselor Zyros, leaned forward. His voice echoed through the chamber. General, you speak of fear. Are you suggesting that the mighty Zereth Empire should be afraid of humans? Vark's fist tightened. I am suggesting you respect them. They are not weak. They are not primitive. They are something else. Another counselor smirked. We have ruled this galaxy for thousands of years. You expect us to believe that a small, uncivilized planet can defeat us? Vark's tone sharpened. I do not expect you to believe. I expect you to see. He pressed a button on his wrist console. The lights dimmed. A hologram appeared above the circle, scenes from the battle on Cryon, the chamber filled with the image of chaos. Alien ships burning. Human fighters moving like ghosts. Energy weapons bouncing off strange blue shields. The humans were not running, they were hunting. One counselor stood up, face pale. That weapon, how did they build that? We never saw such technology before. Vark turned toward him. Because they didn't build it. They learned it from us. Every time we attacked, they studied us. Every time we killed, they adapted. The hologram ended. Silence followed for a moment. It seemed like the council understood. But then Zyros stood again, his expression unreadable. You bring us tales of failure, General. Perhaps the humans did not defeat us. Perhaps you did. The room gasped. Vark's eyes widened. You think I lost the war? You lost faith? Zyros said calmly. You let fear control your judgment. Vark's voice grew louder. Fear? I watched entire fleets vanish. I watched human ships appear out of nowhere. They are coming here, to us? And you sit in your tower calling it fear? Zyros looked around the chamber. This session is over. The guard stepped forward, moving toward Vark, but he didn't move. You cannot hide from this. You cannot debate it away. They will come for you too. The guards dragged him out. His voice echoed down the long marble hallways of the council tower. Do not attack the humans. They will hunt you forever. The doors closed behind him. Silence filled the chamber once more. Later that night, High Counselor Zyros stood alone in his private observatory. He looked out at the stars, small, cold lights in a sea of black. His reflection stared back at him in the glass. For a brief moment he felt it, unease. He opened a data file. Classified reports from the Cryon battlefield scrolled across his screen. Images of destroyed ships. Fragments of human communication logs. One caught his attention. A short human message, broadcast across all channels during the final assault. We warned you once. We don't warn twice. The message repeated in perfect calm English over and over again. No anger, no emotion. Just truth. Zyros frowned. Primitive. No, he whispered. They are something else. Behind him, a door hissed open. A younger counselor entered, bowing respectfully. Sir, another outpost has gone dark. No distress call, just silence. Zyros turned slowly. Where? The colony on Varnus 4, last contact was 8 hours ago. Zyros looked out at the stars again. He didn't answer for a long time. Then he said quietly, increase surveillance. Strengthen border fleets. And say nothing to the citizens. But sir, if the humans are, say nothing. The young counselor nodded nervously and left. Zyros watched the stars once more. In the reflection he saw something moving, a small light blinking far out in the darkness. Too small to be a ship. Too precise to be random, he zoomed in on the telescope. The system's outer ring came into focus. A single object floated there, metallic, triangular, and silent. It wasn't Zereth design. It was human. The object blinked once. Then it vanished into the void. Zyros froze. For the first time in centuries, he felt fear. Far below the city, in the prison chambers, General Vark sat alone in the dark. The walls hummed with static energy. He stared at his hands, rough, tired, shaking slightly. He whispered to himself, they don't believe. They never do. Not until it's too late. The lights flickered. Somewhere deep inside the tower, alarms began to hum softly, just a low warning tone, barely noticeable, but Vark heard it. He smiled sadly. They've arrived. The camera pans out, through the prison walls, through the city towers, into the cold vacuum of space. Dozens of human ships drift silently toward Zereth Prime, hidden under cloak. No words, no warning. Just quiet purpose. Night returned to planet Cryan, but it was not the same world anymore. The stars above looked brighter, sharper, and somehow closer, as if watching what was about to happen. The cities were quiet. Too quiet. General Vark sat inside his dark prison cell. The air was cold, and the only sound was the slow hum of power lines above his head. Every few seconds, a red light blinked on the ceiling. A security drone floated by, scanning his cell. He had been a soldier his entire life, but he had never seen silence like this. The silence of waiting. The silence before something terrible. Far above the planet, human ships drifted like shadows between the clouds. They were invisible to most scanners. No bright engines, no radio signals, only darkness and movement. On board the flagship EDC Horizon, Captain Rachel Lynn watched the planet below through a glass panel. Her eyes were calm, cold, and steady. We stay dark, she said. No signals. No noise. They think we are gone. Her crew nodded. Dozens of faces, focused and silent. Each had lost someone during the first alien attack on Earth. This was not revenge. This was justice. Operation Night Veil begins now. One by one, small pods detached from the main ship, tiny, silent, black as space. They fell toward Cryan's surface without a sound. In the city below, the Zereth Council Tower stood bright and tall. Inside, Counselor Zyros stared at his screen, the same blinking light he had seen before, faint, pulsing on the outer radar. He had ordered the data erased from all systems. But the light kept returning. He whispered to himself, it can't be them. They couldn't have come this far. The door opened behind him. His assistant, a young officer, entered in a hurry. Sir, several energy plants just went offline. We can't locate the problem. How many? Zyros asked quietly. 4 so far. Different cities. No explosions, no reports, just ... dawn. Zyros turned to the window. The city lights flickered for a second. The shadows seemed to move between the buildings. It has begun, he said softly. At the same moment, in his cell, Vark's wall screen came alive. A strange blue light filled the room. The guards outside didn't notice. The sound was only inside his cell. A human voice spoke, calm, emotionless. General Vark? Vark jumped to his feet. Who is this? Captain Rachel Lynn, Earth Defense Command. Vark's heart pounded. How did you reach this channel? This is a closed military network. Your council closed it, the voice replied. We opened it. The screen shifted, showing a view from orbit. Dozens of human ships surrounding Cryan, silent, still, waiting. You warned them, Rachel said. They didn't listen. Vark stepped closer to the light. You're here to destroy us? A short pause. Then the voice answered, We are here to end the hunt. Yours. The screen flickered again, showing alien military bases, one by one going dark. No explosions, no fire, just silence. Every building, every power source turning black. You can't win like this, Vark whispered. We already have, Rachel said softly. We don't fight wars. We finish them. The signal ended. The cell went dark again. Outside, panic spread across the planet. Communication towers stopped working. The military network went offline. Transport systems froze. Zereth soldiers ran through empty streets, searching for enemies they could not see. They fired at shadows. But the shadows never fought back. In the council tower, alarms blared. Unknown intrusions detected in every system. Defense satellites not responding. Orbital sensors offline. Counselor Zyros turned toward the others. We are being invaded. By who? We can't see them. That, Zyros said, is exactly the problem. He looked out the window again. The city lights dimmed. For a moment, everything went dark. Then, one by one, words appeared on every hologram, every screen, every glowing wall in the city. We warned you once. Nothing else. Just that. The words burned into the minds of every citizen. Far below, General Vark sat in silence. He knew what was happening. He had seen it before. But now, he felt something different. Hope. He knew the humans were not here to conquer. They were here to teach the council what fear truly meant. He looked up at the small, blinking red light on his ceiling camera and whispered, They're not attacking you. They're showing you. Moments later, his cell door unlocked by itself. The energy shield faded away. He hesitated, then stepped out. The hallway was empty. No guards. No alarms. A small black device floated nearby. Human design. It projected a simple message in blue light. Walk outside. You are free. He followed the light through long corridors. Every door opened before him. Every drone ignored him. When he reached the outside gates, he saw the sky filled with blue mist and silent ships. A single message echoed from the sky, calm and cold. We are not your enemies. But we remember who started this. Vark raised his eyes. He could see their ships moving like living shadows, disappearing into the clouds. They came in silence, he whispered. And silence is louder than war. That night, across the galaxy, other worlds received the same message. The humans had arrived, not to destroy but to remind, never attack Earth, never again. The night on planet Cryan was quiet again, too quiet. But this time it wasn't peace. It was the silence before the storm. High above the planet, the human fleet waited. No lights, no signals, just dark shapes against the stars, like predators waiting for the right moment to strike. Inside the command ship EDC Horizon, Captain Rachel Lynn stood beside the main view screen. Her crew watched her, silent and ready. Targets confirmed, said the operations officer. 12 council bases. All active. Engines in stealth mode, another whispered. Rachel nodded slowly. Remember, no destruction unless necessary. We show them what fear means. Her eyes hardened. Begin the retaliation. The silent rain from orbit, small black pods detached from the ships, hundreds of them. They fell through the clouds like drops of dark rain. No fire, no sound. An emotion. Each pod carried a single EMP pulse unit, invisible, non-lethal but unstoppable. When the first one touched the ground, the power grid of the largest city went dark instantly. Then the second. Then the third across Cryan. The lights vanished one by one, like stars dying in the sky. The awakening of fear in the Zereth Council Tower. Alarms screamed through the halls. Counselor Zeros ran into the main chamber, his robes half torn, his face pale. "What's happening?" Another shouted. "Communications offline. Weapons not responding." Every screen blinked with strange symbols, human code. Words repeated in white letters across all monitors. "This is not war. This is a reminder." The message looped again and again. Zeros slammed his fist on the control table. "Find them." "Find where it's coming from?" A young technician stammered. "Sir?" "It's coming from inside our own network." Zeros froze. "Inside?" The technician nodded, terrified. "They've taken control of everything." Vark's return, meanwhile. General Vark stood at the edge of the city, watching as entire towers lost power. He had escaped prison only hours ago, guided by silent human drones that vanished as soon as he reached the surface. Now he watched his people run in panic. No explosions, no enemy fire, just confusion. Ships crashed into buildings, unable to control their systems. Defense cannons turned offline. Robots froze in place. This was not an invasion. This was domination without a single shot, Vark whispered to himself. They could have killed us all. But they didn't. He looked up at the dark sky and saw something move, a massive shadow, shaped like a blade. Sliding between the clouds, a human ship, watching. Inside the Council Xyros, and the remaining council members gathered in the underground command center. The walls vibrated from distant impacts, power systems exploding one by one. "They're disabling our entire planet," said one counselor. "Every city is going dark." "They haven't fired a single weapon," Xyros muttered. "Not one." He finally understood what Vark had tried to tell them. They had attacked Earth thinking it was weak. Now Earth were showing them what true power looked like: quiet, unstoppable, merciless precision. The message suddenly, every light in the room went out. The only glow came from a single hologram that appeared in the center of the chamber. It was Captain Rachel Lynn, her face calm, her voice steady. "Council of Zereth, you attacked us without warning. You killed civilians. You burned our colonies. We could destroy your world in seconds. But we choose not to." Her eyes locked on the council. "Instead, we will erase what makes you powerful, your control, your fear, your pride. When you feel small, when you feel helpless, remember, you began this." The hologram flickered. "We warned you once." And then it vanished. Planet in darkness. The entire planet of Cryan went silent. No engines, no energy, no sound. From orbit it looked dead. A dark ball floating in space. But it wasn't destroyed. It was disconnected. Human ships drifted above, scanning for movement. There was none. Then, one by one, they turned and vanished into the darkness, leaving Cryan in its own silence. Vark's realization. General Vark walked through the empty streets, light from the twin moons reflecting off broken glass. He stopped beside a statue of the first Zereth conqueror, now cracked and covered in dust. He looked up at the sky. "They spared us," he said quietly. "They could have ended us, but they didn't." A voice came from behind him, an old one, tired and full of regret. It was Xyros. His robes were torn, his hands shaking. "You were right, Vark," he said. "They don't fight for power. They fight for memory." Vark turned toward him. "And now?" Xyros sighed. "Now, they've made sure we will never forget." They both looked up at the sky again. A single glowing message appeared across the clouds, massive letters written in light: "Remember Earth." Then it faded away. The return to silence. The humans were gone. But their message remained in every heart, in every whisper. In every broken city, for the first time in Zereth history, there were no war songs. No victory speeches. Only quiet, and in that quiet they finally understood what true strength meant. The great planet Cryan was quiet. No lights, no ships. No noise, just the sound of wind moving through the empty metal streets. Weeks had passed since the humans came. They hadn't destroyed cities. They hadn't taken slaves. They had simply turned everything off, and then vanished into the dark. To the Zereth Empire, it was worse than death. Power was everything to them. And now they had none. Vark's journey. General Vark sat in the ruins of the council tower, staring at the stars. The once glorious hall was silent, covered in dust. In the corner, broken hologram projectors blinked weakly. Repeating fragments of old messages, he replayed the human broadcast again and again in his mind. "We are not your enemies. But we remember who attacked first." Those words haunted him. He had fought them. He had lost to them. But deep inside, he could not hate them anymore. He wanted to understand them. The visitor that night. As Vark wandered through the remains of the capital, he saw a flicker of blue light near the old spaceport. He followed it carefully, thinking it might be one of the human probes left behind. Instead, he found something unexpected, a small human drone, half buried in the sand. Its body was damaged, but still alive, still recording. When he touched it, the drone activated. A soft voice echoed from it, calm and familiar. "General Vark, you are authorized to access Transmission Alpha 7? Vark stepped back. "Who are you?" "Captain Rachel Lynn," the voice replied. "This message is not a threat. It is the truth." The drone projected a hologram. It showed Earth, blue oceans, green forests, clouds glowing in sunlight. Then it showed war alien ships over cities, fire raining from the sky, people running for their lives. "You attacked us first," Rachel's voice said. "You came without warning and you called it conquest." The image changed again, humans helping each other rebuild cities, soldiers carrying children, medics treating the wounded. But we survived. We always survive. Vark watched in silence. Humans were not just soldiers. They were builders, protectors, creators. "Every time someone tries to destroy us," Rachel continued, "we learn, we grow. And we remember." The hologram zoomed out, showing thousands of human ships leaving Earth, forming the Earth Defense Command. "We do not fight for power. We fight to make sure no one suffers as we did." The message ended. The drone went dark. RK stood there for a long time, staring at the sand. Then softly he whispered, "Now I understand." The council's last plan. Deep underground, in a secret bunker, Councilor Zyros and a few surviving leaders met. They were desperate, angry, and afraid. "The humans humiliated us," one shouted. "We must rebuild our fleet. We will strike again." Zyros stared at him coldly. "Strike again? With what?" "We have no power, no control. Not even respect from our own people." "Then we use our last weapon," the counselor said. "The Sunbreaker." Zyros froze. The Sunbreaker was a forbidden weapon, a system that could destroy a star itself. It was madness. "You will doom us all," he said quietly. "Better to die fighting than live in shame?" The man shouted, but Zyros knew the truth. The humans would never allow it. Contact as the council prepared their plan. A strange energy wave rippled through the bunker. Lights flickered. The ground shook. A voice echoed through every system, human, calm, and commanding. "Do not do this." Everyone froze. The hologram of Captain Rachel Lynn appeared again, not through machines, but through their own systems. She looked directly at them. "We know about the Sunbreaker. We've been watching since the first energy pulse. You still don't understand, do you?" She paused, her tone softening. "We do not come to rule. We come to stop what destroys life. You attacked us, and we defended ourselves. You feared us, but you never tried to know us." She looked straight at Zyros. "Do you want to know what makes humans strong?" No one spoke. The room was silent. "It's not our weapons. It's not our ships. It's our memory. We remember pain, and we refuse to let it happen again to anyone. Even to you." The hologram flickered away, for the first time. Zyros felt something he hadn't felt in centuries. Shame. The choice later that night. Vark entered the bunker. The council was silent, their faces pale. He looked at them one by one. "You saw their message," he said. "You know now what they are? They are not monsters. They are mirrors. They show us who we really are." Zyros lowered his head. "Then perhaps it is time we change." Vark nodded slowly. "If we survive this lesson, maybe we still have a chance to become something better." He looked toward the stars. They seemed brighter now, not as a warning, but as a promise. The truth, days later, the humans returned to orbit one last time. They sent a final broadcast, simple and clear. We seek no war, but we do not forget. Remember this piece. Keep it. The message spread through every colony, every ship, every outpost in the Zereth Empire. And for the first time in 1,000 years, the galaxy went silent, not in fear, but in understanding. Vark's reflection standing at the edge of the city, Vark looked up at the night sky. He could still see the faint trails of human ships disappearing into the dark. He whispered softly, "They are not gods. They are not demons. They are just human, and that is what makes them unstoppable." The galaxy was quiet, but in the darkness between the stars, something terrible was coming. The Zereth Empire, broken and humiliated, was preparing one last strike. They called it Operation Sunbreaker, a desperate plan to destroy the humans once and for all. Deep inside a dying star, their scientists had built a weapon capable of turning suns into firestorms. It was a weapon of pride, not reason. And they planned to use it on Earth's sun, Vark's. Discovery General Vark stood on a cliff overlooking the black desert of Cryan. The air smelled of smoke and rust. He had heard the whispers, the Council's final order. They wanted revenge, even if it meant their own extinction, but Vark had seen too much death. He no longer wanted revenge. He wanted peace. When a small human probe landed near him that night, he didn't run. It projected a hologram, Captain Rachel Lynn once again. "General Vark," she said calmly, "we detected massive energy buildup near your star cluster. Your people are building something dangerous," Vark sighed. "They are blinded by shame. They want to destroy you and themselves," Rachel nodded. "Then we must stop them, but we don't want another war." "Then what do you want?" Vark asked quietly. Her answer was simple. "A choice, for you, for them." The Council's madness. In the underground chambers of the Zereth Council, alarms blared. Engineers ran through narrow halls, shouting codes and warnings. The Sunbreaker was almost ready. Its energy core glowed like a captured star, and its coordinates were locked on the Sol system. "Once we fire," said a Council member, "their sun will burn out. Their world will freeze. The humans will finally learn who rules the stars." Councillor Zyro stood apart from the others. He looked at the glowing energy with a heavy heart. "You still don't understand," he whispered. "They are not ruled by fear. They are ruled by purpose." No one listened. They pressed the final sequence. The machine began to hum, deep, powerful, unstoppable. The human fleet returns in the darkness of space. Hundreds of human ships appeared near the Cryan system. No lights, no signals. Just precision and silence. Captain Rachel Lynn watched from her command chair aboard the EDC Horizon. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were sharp. "We have one goal: disable the weapon. Do not destroy their world unless absolutely necessary." "They want war," said her second officer. "We give them understanding." "Exactly," Rachel said. Then she gave the order: "Engage Cloak. Begin Operation Dawn Shield." Vark's decision. General Vark arrived at the Council base in secret. He walked past guards, past scanners, past frightened engineers. Everyone stared. The traitor general, returning to the heart of power, got inside the control room. The Council turned toward him in shock. "You!" shouted one member. "You dare show your face here?" "Stop the weapon," Vark said simply. "You will doom us all. We are already doomed." The man screamed, "The humans took everything!" "No," Vark said, stepping forward. "We took everything from ourselves." He slammed his hand on the control console, shutting down part of the system. Guards raised their weapons, but before they could fire, the ceiling trembled. A deep sound filled the room. The humans had arrived. The battle of two skies outside, the night exploded with light. Human ships descended through the clouds, cutting through defense cannons like wind through smoke. Their beams were precise, disabling, not killing. Alien fighters swarmed the sky, firing wildly. Human ships moved between them like ghosts, avoiding fire, disabling engines, never missing a shot from orbit. It looked less like a battle and more like surgery. Humans weren't destroying. They were removing the infection inside the council tower. Vark fought to keep the system offline. He was bleeding, his armor cracked. Zyros appeared beside him, helping to pull cables and override the commands. "We can't stop it," Zyros shouted. "The core is unstable." "Then we move it," Vark said. "We take it away from this system." He opened the cum channel to orbit. "Captain Lin." "I need extraction now." Her voice answered instantly. "We have you coordinates locked." A beam of blue light surrounded the weapon core, lifting it into the sky. The humans were pulling it away, carrying it deep into the void, but the core was breaking apart. It was seconds from exploding. The sacrifice Rachel's voice came through again. "Vark, get out of there. The energy levels are critical." Vark looked around the burning chamber. He could still hear the chaos, the screams, the alarms. He knew he couldn't make it. He looked up at the stars through the cracks in the roof. "No," he said softly, "this is where it ends." He pressed his hand on the manual override. The countdown froze. The explosion halted mid-sequence. But it came with a cost. The system locked permanently. He was trapped inside. "Tell Earth," he whispered into the cum. "I was wrong." The transmission cut. The light from space. The humans watched as the tower glowed one last time. A brilliant blue light shot upward, then faded into silence. No shockwave. No destruction. Just peace. Rachel Lynn stood quietly, her face calm but sad. "He saved them," her second officer said. "No," she whispered. "He saved everyone." Aftermath. Days later, the human fleet left Cryon orbit. They didn't claim victory. They didn't raise flags. They simply left a message in orbit. A small beacon broadcasting a single sentence in every language. "Peace is earned, not taken." The Zereth Empire would never forget those words, and in their new history books, they would write of one soldier, Vark of Cryon, who saw the truth and chose peace over pride. The war was over, but the silence that followed was louder than any explosion above the once proud planet Cryon. The sky was clear for the first time in months. No ships, no smoke. Only stars. The cities below lay quiet, damaged, yes, but alive. The humans were gone. No soldiers. No fleets. No orbiting weapons. Only a small beacon floating above the capital, repeating a single message in every Zereth dialect. "We are gone, but we are watching. Do not forget this peace." The new Dawn Counselor Zeros stood at the edge of the ruined council tower, the wind brushing against his face. The mighty halls that once echoed with pride and arrogance were now empty. Filled only with dust and silence, he turned to the horizon. The sun was rising, soft, golden light spilling across the broken city. For the first time, it didn't look like victory or defeat. It looked like a beginning. Behind him, engineers and workers rebuilt what they could. Children ran through the streets, their laughter breaking through the silence. It wasn't much, but it was life. The Memorial a week later, in the center of Cryon City, a new monument was built. Not of gold, not of power, but of simple metal, salvaged from the remains of the old war machines. At the base of the monument, an inscription read, "To those who learn too late that strength is not in fear, but in understanding." At the top stood a statue, not of a hero or conqueror, but of General Vark, his head bowed, hands open, and beside him, a smaller figure, a human soldier standing in silence. No weapons. Just two beings facing the stars together, the message from Earth one morning. As the new Cryon government gathered for its first peace meeting, a strange signal reached the capital. Weak, distant, but unmistakably human, Zyros ordered it to be played. The voice that came through was calm, soft, and familiar. "This is Captain Rachel Lynn, Earth Defense Command. To the people of Cryon and the Zereth worlds, your world has survived because one of you chose peace. We honor General Vark for his courage. The galaxy will remember his name. And we hope you remember ours, not with fear, but with understanding." The message ended with a final line, simple and powerful. "Peace is the only victory worth keeping." Zyros closed his eyes. A tear rolled down his cheek, the first he had shed in centuries. Years later time passed. The Zereth Empire became something new, not an empire, but a union of free worlds. Trade replaced war. Communication replaced conquest. And the name human became one of respect, not fear. In the great school of Cryan, young students studied Earth's history. They learned about its wars, its resilience, its will to survive. They didn't call humans monsters. They called them teachers. One young student, a small alien child, stood before the statue of General Vark every morning before class. He would touch the cold metal and whisper, "Father said never attack the humans." And his teacher would smile. Good, because now we learn from them. The legacy across the stars, human ships continued their silent missions, exploring, studying, helping rebuild what war had broken. They never asked for control. They never demanded tribute. They simply watched. And waited. On Earth, in the Hall of Memory, a new stone was placed beside humanity's great heroes. It read, "Vark of Cryan, who saw truth through the smoke of war. An enemy who chose peace. A friend remembered forever." Beneath it, a single human flower, a white lily, rested quietly, the unknown signal many years later. On a distant outpost near the edge of the galaxy, a group of young explorers sat around a radar screen. Suddenly, a faint blip appeared, a signal deep in the uncharted void. "Captain, we're picking up something strange." Unknown signature. The captain, a woman with calm brown eyes, leaned forward. "Origin?" "Unknown. But it's old. Pre-human tech. Maybe Zereth? Maybe older?" The signal repeated once, a single phrase in an ancient, broken language. No one could translate it completely. But one word stood out clearly. "Home?" The crew looked at each other in silence. The captain smiled slightly. "Set a course. Let's see who's calling." The ship turned slowly, engines lighting up against the darkness. As it moved into the unknown, the stars reflected off its hull, the letters EDC Horizon 2 shining brightly, asterisk epilogue far away. On Cryan, the monument still stood under the twin moons. The wind moved softly through the streets. And when night came, two lights shone above, one blue, one white, drifting side by side across the sky. No one called them ships anymore. They were memories. Reminders of what happens when pride meets compassion. And as the children of Cryan looked up at those lights, they whispered the story passed down from their parents. "Once, we attacked the humans. We thought they would destroy us, but they taught us peace instead." The stars glowed quietly, listening. And somewhere, deep in the galaxy, a human voice whispered back, "We never forget, but we always forgive."